everyone, welcome back to Kinder Coach. I'm Audrey and today's video is all about phonemic awareness. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between phonemic awareness and phonological awareness. My last video was all about phonological awareness, so if you missed that part, you're welcome to go back and catch it before moving on to phonemic awareness. So phonological awareness, as you remember, is the ability to recognize and manipulate or play with larger units of sound in sentences and words. So the difference is phonemic awareness, we're going to recognize and manipulate those individual sounds called phonemes in a word. So let's look at the difference. Let's take the word cup. So in phonological awareness activities, we may find words that rhyme with the word cup. We may ask how many syllables you hear in the word cup. Cup, one syllable. We may do onset and rhyme activities. So we may say, let's blend it together. Up, cup. Okay, so that is phonological awareness. Now, dealing with phonemic awareness and the same word, let's take the word cup. We're going to separate each sound or phoneme. So we would say, up, cup. Do you hear the difference? Okay, so let's move on to more about phonemic awareness. So why is this even important? So remember, we're not dealing with letters yet. We're not dealing with any sort of symbols or any written part of language. This is all oral language, spoken language. Okay, so why do we need to do this? Why don't we just jump into throwing letters out? Because that's what reading is, right? And yes, that is right. However, the National Reading Panel study in 2000, and I do have a whole video about the National Reading Panel. The video was Introduction to the Science of Reading, Part 2. That explains exactly what the National Reading Panel is, why it was developed, all those things. So in this case, I'm not going to review all of that. But just know that the National Reading Panel was a group of people put together by Congress to comb through reading research and find out how children learn to read. So this study concluded that it is critically important for students to know these spoken sounds and be able to recognize and manipulate them before we add symbols or letters, okay, and letter names. Because if they don't have a strong foundation in phonological and phonemic awareness, when we put those letters in, those graphemes in with the sounds, it's going to get very confusing. So before we do that, we want to develop a strong foundation in these oral and spoken language skills so that it just makes more sense when we introduce letters. They understand that language is made up of sounds. They understand that these words can be broken apart into sounds. So it's natural to add the letter in because they already know, okay, this word is made up of sounds. Here's how I represent those sounds. Okay, I hope that made sense. All right, so let's move on to the parts of phonemic awareness. So the first thing you're going to start teaching is isolating sounds. So let's take the word cat. If we isolate the sounds, we are asking our students, can you tell me the first sound that you hear in the word cat? Say it with me. And again, it's very important for them to say it with you so they feel what their mouth is doing when they say the sound, okay? So say it with me, cat. What's the first sound that you hear? And then k is the first sound. And you're going to do this for the first sound. Then once they get the hang of that and master that, you're going to move on to the last sound. So cat, say it, cat. What's the last sound you hear? T. So, and that is going to take a while. This is difficult for students starting out. So it's going to take a while, a lot of practice, and that's okay. The last isolating sound is going to be the middle sound. Now, this is because in the beginning, you're working with what we call CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant. Those short vowel sounds are harder for students to feel when they say them, which means it's harder for them to hear them. So let's use the word cat again. It's very distinct, what you're doing with your mouth. Is not as much, and there's also a very distinct mouth motion. So we want to do the middle phoneme or middle sound last when we're isolating. Okay, moving on from isolating is blending. Now we're going to learn how to blend these sounds together. Remember, no letters, just sounds. So let's change words. I'm tired of cat. Let's use dog. Okay, so when we're blending, we want to blend together from left to right the individual sounds. So d, a, g. D, a, g. Dog. Okay, that is blending, putting those sounds together. Before we move on, that was actually not a good example to start with. And let me tell you why. It is easier for students to learn to blend sounds when the first sound in the word is a continuous sound. Now, I'll do a whole other video about continuous sounds versus stop sounds. But just know that continuous sounds are sounds they can hold out, such as for letter M, for letter N, all those sounds can be held out, as opposed to b, t, k, d. Those are stop sounds, meaning you say them, they stop, you can't hold them out. So the reason why we want to start with a continuous sound is because they need to be able to hold on to that sound in their brains to add the rest on. So let's do mop. Mop. You see how you can hang on to those sounds? So mop, mop would be a much better word to start with than dog. Okay, so that's what that means. Now, segmenting is just the opposite of blending. So you're taking the whole word and then you're pulling it apart into its sounds. So let's take the word mop. I would say mop. Can you say mop? Good. Can you tell me the sounds that you hear in mop? Mop. So segmenting is pulling those sounds apart. Now, like I said, is going to take a while and a lot of practice. Then you move on to more complex skills, such as substituting and deleting sounds or phonemes. So let's take the word cup. Substituting means you're changing a sound. So let's take the word cup and replace the sound with the sound. So cup becomes cap. Much more difficult, right? Yes. So substituting is that. Deleting is taking a letter out. So take the word cup, the sound take out the k sound, and you're left with up. Yes, it's difficult. This is a difficult skill. And then you can also add phonemes. So if you start with the word up and you add at the beginning, cup. Okay. Now, it's more important to get the blending and segmenting aspects of things. Do not spend a ton of time with the deleting and adding and replacing. Yes, it's important, but it is not super important before they start reading. They can go ahead and start reading once they get the hang of blending and segmenting. Okay, those are just more complex skills that will help as They learn more complex letters, letter sounds, such as digraphs. So CH says ch, okay? Just one sound, but two letters. And we're not going to talk about that right now, because right now we're focusing on CVC words. So I have some fun activities to show you to give you examples of teaching each of these skills and help to build phonemic awareness. So now I'm going to gather my materials and I'm going to come back. I'm going to show you some fun activities. Okay, I've gathered all of my materials and I am ready to show you some activities to promote phonemic awareness. So when you're doing phonics with our littles, with our pre-readers or early readers, you have to make it fun. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. They're not going to pay attention. So make it fun, make it hands-on, switch things up day to day so you're not always doing the same thing. And there are so many ways to make phonemic awareness fun. So one thing you can do that also promotes movement is to get some hula hoops. If you are working with a word that has two phonemes, you can use 2 hula hoops. If you're using CVC words, you're going to use 3 hula hoops, and then you can use more if you move on to multi-syllable words. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay the hula hoops down on the floor. You can do a straight line, you can do zigzag, at a good distance for the kiddo to jump from one hula hoop to another. And you can use this for blending and segmenting. So let's take the word mop again, and we're going to have the student blend the sounds to make the word, okay? So you're going to give them the sounds ah, and they're going to say each sound as they jump into the hula hoops. So first jump, second jump, ah, third jump, and they jump out of the hula hoop and combine those sounds. Ah, what's that word? Mop. Good. Then they're going to turn right back around and we're going to segment the word mop. So they're going to say mop, and they are going to pull the sounds apart. They're going to jump and say jump and say ah. So they're taking those sounds apart. Dropped my pen. 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's one activity that you can do. Now, the second activity I'm going to show you is called an Elkonin box. Elkonin. And that is the last name of the person who developed these boxes. So if you buy them from the store or from a teacher's supply shop, they are going to look something like this. Okay, upside down. So this is a 2 phoneme or 2 sound box, and this is a 3 sound box. And if you buy them in a set, they're going to come with some sort of little manipulative or marker. So this one came with these little chips. It's hard to see there. And you're going to start with these manipulatives on the circles. Okay. Wish I had a better way to show you this, but this is going to have to work for now. So you're going to start with these down here. You're going to have 3 of them, and you're going to give them a word, and they are going to segment the sounds. Each time they say a sound, they're going to slide that marker up into the square. So it starts here. So, and they're going to leave it. They're going to move to the next one. Ah. And then you're going to have them slide their finger from left to right as if they were reading. So they're going to slide up ah, mop, and slide their finger. That's probably backwards. It's not left or right, but you're going to go left to right. You can make your own Elkonin boxes with anything. Index cards, a dry erase board. It's very, very simple, but very effective because you're getting that multi-sensory aspect of moving those manipulatives up as you're saying it, which is going to help the students remember the sounds. Now, these can also be used when you start using letters too, and I'll show you that in a later video. What kid does not like using the teacher's pointer? Okay, this one's a little ice cream that I believe my daughter got from the book fair. But you can use these as well. So let's take the word cat. At cat. Okay, so that's another option. All right, I have these little cards. Now these do have letters on them, but let's mark them out because we don't want to use letters right now. We're just working with sounds. So you can just mark them out. You can cover them up with a Post-it note, whatever you feel like doing. But these can be used just for phonemic awareness. And this is going to be isolating the first sound. So in this case, we're working with the sound mm. Can you circle the pictures that start with mm? Now you're going to want to say them together because some kids aren't going to know exactly what the pictures are. So you're going to say monkey. Does monkey start with mm? You say it, monkey. Yes. So we're going to circle the monkey. Then you will move on to moose, mouse, ice, and parrot. So these are great for phonemic awareness. And also later on, when your kiddos move on to phonics and they're actually using the letters, it has those as well. I believe these came from Teachers Pay Teachers, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look that up and link it in the notes. And then another way is to use a magnetic board or a cookie sheet, anything magnetic. And this is the same thing that I showed you with phonological awareness. So you can use these. You can even draw your own Alconin box on this and use the magnets as your markers. So for instance, if we're talking about the sounds that make up the word, we can move these. I'm not good at looking backwards. At. Okay. You can also use these tiles, the magnet tiles. Now these, if you have baby wipes handy, which all early childhood teachers should, you can write it on these magnet tiles. Let's use at. Well, in this case, we're not going to write the letters because we're not there yet. So you're just going to take at, or if you're segmenting, you're going to say at. Sorry about that. But again, these are multi-use. You can use them for phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, and as I was about to do, phonics, where you actually write the letters. But don't do that yet. My bad. You can use anything for phonemic awareness. If your kids love trucks, have them push the truck to different index cards as they say the sounds. If you have a little one who loves unicorns, have them move their pretty little ponies as they say each sound. Jump over the rainbow as you blend it together. Anything. So be creative. You know your kiddos and your students. Find things that you know that they love and use that to your advantage. I know this was a lot of information, but I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned a lot. Until next time, see you later.